Okay, here we go.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is finally here, so let's talk about the ending and the after-credit scene.
You know this is an open line, right?
What?
We're listening to everything you're saying.
Of course, there's going to be spoilers, so be ready for that.
Knock it off!
What?
This movie was pretty heavy. Starlord became an alcoholic, Rocket spent half of the movie in a coma, the Guardians had to fight through Nathan Fillion to try to save his life, and the whole time we're treated to flashbacks of animal cruelty. We finally see where Rocket came from after all this time, a product of the genetic experimentations of the High Evolutionary. A few fake-out deaths later, and our heroes managed to save hundreds of animals, aliens, and genetically engineered star children from a lifetime of manipulation. The Guardians basically turned nowhere into Noah's Ark, and somehow that's even more wild than the giant celestial skull sprouting a giant cannon from its eye socket. Groot even spoke words that didn't include Am and Groot.
Groot. We're not going to talk about that.
Admit it, you cried when he said, "I love you guys." Through all of this chaos, Peter even managed to reunite with Gamora. Sort of. No, they didn't get back together, but Peter managed to convince Gamora that whatever her past future self and he shared was special. And with that, the band split up. Peter, Mantis, and Gamora all leave the Guardians to go their separate ways. Even if the audience will never let him live down his tantrum in Infinity War, the man's grown up. He's come to realize that he's been running from his problems his entire life, ever since he lost his mom. So he does what any mature adult does and listens to his sister's advice. He packs up and returns home to see if his grandfather is still alive. Alright, we've got to talk about the post-credit scene. Peter made it back to his grandfather and has settled down at his house, trying to cope with the neighborhood kids calling him a deadbeat for living with his family. Man, Peter Quill just can't catch a break. It's all too relatable, man. I think we've all been there at some point. We can see that the newspaper mentions the recent alien abduction of Kevin Bacon, which is a nice nod to the holiday special. The scene doesn't leave us with much of a big tease, but the credits do tell us that the legendary Starlord will return. This could go a lot of different ways. A potential Disney Plus series or solo film could be in the works. Starlord has held his own comic runs before, so it's not completely out of the question. More likely, the movie's teasing his return to Rocket's new Guardians in a future movie. Or he's going to end up getting sucked into whatever's going on in the next couple of Avengers films. Following Kang Dynasty, the MCU will be adapting the 2015 Secret Wars storyline. Starlord was one of the few who survived the dimensional incursions in that storyline, so it's possible that he could be a major player in that film. On the topic of Quill's sister, Mantis's arc in this movie can easily be summed up as that one player in the D&D group that plays the healer. Eventually, you get sick of dealing with everyone's crap and realize that you're a strong, independent bug woman who don't need no man.
Kick names, take ass.
Even if that man is Drax. As much as it hurts to see Mantis leave the team, it honestly makes sense. She spent her whole life listening to Ego until she met the Guardians, but even then she spent all of her energy and attention on other people. As cliche as it is, sometimes you just gotta go find yourself. And besides, she's got 3 friendly, toothy, tentacle monsters to share the journey with her. Gamora ended up exactly where she started in this movie, working with Sylvester Stallone and the Ravagers. But this time, they might end up becoming her newfound family. Stallone and friends were teased during the mid-credits scene of Volume 2, which left fans speculating on whether or not we'd be seeing a Ravagers movie or possibly a series. Unfortunately, Zoe Saldana has stated that this is going to be her last time playing Gamora, so this will probably be the last time we see her and the Ravagers as well. Nebula is going to be leading the people of Nowhere, which is a fantastic conclusion to her arc. A person whose life was solely focused on wanting to kill her own family now has a greater purpose: to lead and protect with a kick-ass robot arm.
Okay. Now what?
Drax has always been the strongest of the Guardians, but his greatest strength is managing to relate to today's youth. You'll be seeing his monkey impression at parties for years to come, I'll bet. Based on Mantis's comments about how he was always meant to be a dad, next time we see him, he'll probably be training a new generation of adorable little destroyers. That's if we ever see him again. Dave Bautista's kinda been pretty open about not appearing again. But you know, we're 2 for 2 with post-Endgame Marvel cosmic movies that feature the main himbo becoming a dad while training a new generation of protectors. I don't know about you guys, but if Bautista does return, I'd watch Drax and Thor pull daycare for each other's kids. That just screams for a Disney Plus show. Finally, Rocket is running the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Let me just ask the captain. Oh, wait a second, it's me.
He's even got Peter Zune to make it official. And the new lineup is something special. We've got Kraglin, who's finally learned to wield Yondu's arrow. Cosmo, everyone's favorite telepathic pupper, is also on the team, guarding the galaxy as the goodest girl. It's no surprise that Groot goes where Rocket goes, but now he's kaiju-sized. Adam Warlock joined up after spending most of the movie trying to kill our heroes, but he managed to pull a Nebula and ultimately help them out. But most importantly, we have Blurp, Adam's adorable furry friend that used to belong to the Ravagers. Okay, there's also one more member of the Guardians. The white-haired girl that was on Rocket's Guardians is Phyla Vell. In the comics, Phyla was one of 2 children that were genetically engineered from a sample of Captain Marvel, Mar-Vell's, DNA. While Phyla in this movie was a creation of the High Evolutionary and Mar-Vell was Carol Danvers' mentor in the MCU, there's still a possibility that they could be connected. It's looking like the Marvels are going to be getting more into the Kree Empire, so time will tell if we'll learn more about Phyla Vell. Speaking of genetic manipulation, we gotta talk about the High Evolutionary. He is easily the best Marvel villain since Thanos. It's funny how this franchise is 3 for 3 with purple villains trying to play God with Thanos, Kang, and everyone's least favorite animal abuser. Which is saying something because I don't think anybody has a most favorite animal abuser. In a shocking change of pace for the franchise, our heroes didn't actually kill the villain. Rocket explicitly didn't do it since that's not what the Guardians do anymore. So we never saw a body. Did they just leave him on his ship to die as the ugly, egotistical monster that he is? I was honestly expecting a mid-credit scene showing him being taken to face trial on some planet or whatever. It certainly leaves the door open for future stories if Marvel wants to use the character again. If they ever get things under control with Spider-Man, maybe we could see a live-action adaptation of Spider-Man Unlimited. That show was the only time the High Evolutionary was relevant outside of the comics before this movie. And Carnage and Venom were also a big part of that show. I'm just saying, people love Spider-Man, people love symbiotes, and people love space. I'm pretty sure people would love Spider-Man and symbiotes in space fighting the High Evolutionary. I'd watch the hell out of that. This movie was not only a farewell to the Guardians of the Galaxy, but to director James Gunn's time at Marvel. In 2014, he captured the hearts of millions with the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Despite getting fired from Disney, he managed to finish his story. While it's sad that we won't get to see what the rest of the cosmic side of Marvel will look like with him, he's on to greener pastures. The man is in charge of DC movies and is writing and directing the next Superman movie, Superman Legacy. We still don't really know what that's gonna be like, but if Gunn's time at the Guardians has proven anything, it's that he knows how to tell a great story with a ton of heart, which is what you need in a Superman movie. Plus, I kinda feel like all of Adam Warlock's action scenes in this movie were just a testing ground for how James Gunn is gonna film Superman's fight scenes. Some of the shots with Adam fighting the Guardians felt like they were ripped straight out of Man of Steel. Plus, it'll be really interesting to see who he casts Michael Rooker to play in that movie. Come on, you know he's gonna do it. As much as we like the story of Guardians of the Galaxy, this video must come to an end. What was your favorite part of the movie? Whose journey are you the most interested to see continue? Let us know in the comments below.